Hey, what's up, sports fans? Welcome to another edition of Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. RPF, we had some crazy games in the NFL this weekend, both bad and good. So there's a lot to get into. Before we do that, I have a feeling I know the answer to this, but before we do that, how are you feeling today?
I'll just say this. I'm not a young person anymore. In my entire, I've been a Dolphins fan since I was, 7. My entire life. I'll put it a different way. It even got better. My worlds collided this weekend, this Sunday. The Dolphins explode to the heights I can maybe even dream about, followed by Taylor Swift appearing in an NFL game. My worlds have completely. It's literally an embarrassment of riches. I am almost beyond words, but I'll try to struggle through. I am very, very excited about this weekend's podcast.
Yes. All right. Well, before we get into all that, just real quick, you can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, all the great platforms. You can also find us socially on Instagram and X, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. Just head to any of those platforms, type in Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF into the search bar, and we'll pop right up for your listening pleasure. Let's get right into this. Let's do a little weekend recap. Typically, we start with the games sort of chronologically, but my friend, this weekend, I'm going to do you a service and an honor of taking the floor. Go ahead and tell us all about what happened historically this weekend with the Miami Dolphins.
Thank you. I will take that, because I will take that for all the Dolphins fans, for the entire fan base who we've been disrespected and underappreciated for literally my lifetime. Except for, of course, the perfect season, which, I was like, in diapers. The point is, well, not really. I was 7. It's going to be a whole different discussion.
So hopefully not.
My mom would be like, honey, you were like in high school. Anyway, no, but okay. The historic Dolphins to put up 70 points. I mean, this is like Division III college football in Utah. Okay. This is not how it happens. Do you know how difficult it is just logistically to score 10 touchdowns in an NFL game? Yeah. Considering, just NFL talent and how in ebbs and flows of the game.
Well, yeah, well, we can discuss the other side of the football too.
Well, no, but people joke about that, but they're still, like you always say, they're still an NFL team. They're sitting there. And by the way, it's Sean Payton talking smack. It's it's all this. Wilson is back. I mean, all this stuff.
Talk about foot in mouth,
foot in ass. And this is the thing, but beyond, because, like now the new popular thing is to go like, the next gen stats and stuff. But let me give you a couple of stats that aren't as glaringly obvious as just at face value of the 70. Okay. I'm just saying there's 10 touchdowns, as I mentioned.
Right.
Right now, of course, Tua has the highest QB rating in 5 years in that game. 5 years. I mean, no one has done it higher than that. 350 yards plus on the ground and 350 yards plus passing. Never been done before in history. That combination. It's usually like when you have these scores, it's always like 9 touchdown passes, right? This wasn't that case. We did this without Jalen Waddle. Not arguably, the second most important piece of the pie of the offense, to tell you how efficient and incredible this offense is. In the fourth quarter, I watched every single down of this game, as you can imagine. In the fourth quarter, we tried to just kill the clock. We tried. We had our second string quarterback. We had our third string receiver. We had our third string running back, and we kept scoring. And we just couldn't stop scoring. And even at the end of the game, we could have gone for the all-time record for the field goal.
This is my bone to pick.
I know. I mean, for the fans, for Miami, for the disrespect, no one would have faulted McDaniel to say,
no,
go for the record. This team this moment deserves that. I was outraged, and frankly, but then it hit me. This guy was he grew up in Denver. He was a ball boy for the Broncos. It plays into this, in some way. For McDaniel, he's not exactly doing things by the book. So let's give them, I'm gonna give them a pass on that one, even though it's vague, a little slightly annoying on the birthday cake that this was this Sunday.
I was dumbfounded.
Yeah,
because I was watching.
Belichick would have done draws and bombs. He would have done a play action play. Belichick would have put a boot on throat until they spill out their guts. Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
All right. So, and then I kept thinking is, don't wake me up. Am I dreaming? Don't wake me up. I was watching a video game, right? And here's the thing. For the first time, again, since they've had these rankings, the Miami Dolphins are number one in the power rankings. Number one, Miami Dolphins. It is almost like incomprehensible to tell you that the Niners, the Chiefs, the Eagles, Bills, and Cowboys are under them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so my point is, my only, being a Dolphins fan, other shoe dropping, the whole thing, did we peak a little early? Here's my saving grace, and this sounds absurd to anyone who watches football. And considering all these records I just said, I don't think we played perfectly. I think we can get better, which should literally send a chill down everyone's spine. Now, having said that, flip this around. Once again, before the last game with the Patriots, every single analyst, as I mentioned, was saying the Patriots were going to win at home. All right, that's, as Dolphin fans, we're used to that disrespect. What I'm not used to is being number one in the power rankings, number one with a bullet, the best passer, the best runner, the best team, and we're still 2.5 points underdogs to the fucking Bills. Okay, next week I am. If ever there's a motivation speech that after that type of performance, if this performance was Mahomes or was people would be like, yeah, it's Mahomes doing things. The Chiefs would be what 12 points up as a favorite. The Dolphins 2.5 points down after 3 turnovers after playing the way we did. Fuck you, people. Let's go. I want the Dolphins to walk into Buffalo and say, yeah, great. In the 80s, Miami beat the Bills 20 straight games.
I have a question.
Let's start that new trajectory.
I have a question. In all honesty, truthfully,
yes.
Why do you care so much that you're 2.5 point underdog?
It's just respect. It's just constant,
so what?
Blatant. No, it's
you should love it.
Jonah, that's rich coming from the Patriot fan base that literally has had.
You should love it.
I mean, Tom Brady vomits into a bucket, and it's like front page news of hilarious. The Tua is number one rated passer last year, and no one gives a shit. He's number 12 in some list. Give me a break. But I think we have to play with that type of anxiety, the Dolphins, because we can't sit there and say, "Oh, they all love us." No one loves us. Miami fans love us,
and you should love that. You should love the fact that
in
matter
theory,
what, you're underdogs.
I'm a people pleaser. Look, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan saying that I'm against the grain. I like popular culture. I like to be popular. I want to be popular. I want the Dolphins to be considered what they are. In the elite 4 or 5 teams in the NFL. That's all we're asking for.
And you just said that they are ranked number 1 in the league. So they are recognized.
Not by other. This is computer stuff. Not by human beings who never think Miami is any good. Even at the height of Marino-ness, he was saying, "Yeah, but he's not Joe Montana." It's always been consistent since I've been born.
I'm pretty sure if you turn on any of the talking head shows right now, every single one of them will say the Dolphins.
Johnny come latelys. Yes, they're like, "Oh, just kidding. I was wrong for 6 years of my fucking."
Okay, but they're giving you their due.
How could they not? I mean, at this point, it's ridiculous if they don't.
But you're arguing that nobody is and everybody is.
But fine. I'm arguing that we should not be 2.5 points underdog. That's going to be. I'm
arguing that you shouldn't care about that. This is ridiculous.
Yes, I mean, I shouldn't also worry about to wear white after Labor Day, but I do care about that. So I'm definitely going to be focused on Miami not only beating the Bills by covering the spread, but we're definitely going to be looking to have a statement game.
You and every Dolphins fan should love this because so you brought up the Patriots when we had Brady in the dynasty and all this. I will remember there was I think it might have been a playoff game. It was the first time since 2000, late in Brady's career with the Patriots. It was the first time since 2002 or some astronomical long time ago that we were underdogs. We were spread underdogs. And I said,
must have been the Mahomes game.
And
right?
I said, "Oh, well, that's easy. here's $50 on the Patriots.
Yeah.
And we won because we were a better team. I didn't go around boo-hoo and oh my gosh, we're underdogs.
But Jonah, the flip side of that is that you never had that issue until then. We've been having that issue historically, even when we're 12-4 back in the day in the 93 or whatever season, we were 12-4 going into the playoffs. We were playing some like 9-7 team or something, and they were like, "Oh, it's a toss-up. Fuck you." And we won by 30. It's like unbelievable. It's constant disrespect for the franchise. I'm not even talking about, I think it's the uniform. I don't think Flipper inspires any fear in anybody. I think all of that. I think, honestly, if the Dolphins played the Bears now, they'd be like, maybe the Bears upset special. I don't know. I think this is a statement game because after this game, we play the Giants and the Panthers. So we can just be on a roll from here. And then we go, the big game to look for, of course, is going to be of all places, in Frankfurt, Germany in October when we play the Chiefs. That's going to be a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And, okay, I'm done ranting now. I'm very, very happy with part one of my happiness. My part two we'll get to when there's empty space to talk about, shaking it off and stuff.
All right. Well, there you have it. The Dolphins put up 70 points. For those of you that don't know,
the Dolphins won 70-20 over the Broncos.
I don't know that we actually covered like what actually happened.
That's true.
The Dolphins won 70-20 over the Broncos. And yeah, again, just real quick, my bone to pick is that they did the field goal at the end of the game. They were there. They're like, oh, we could just kick a field goal and we could have this, I think tie the record. I think it was
tie the record. Yeah. From 1952 or something.
But I was following along on my phone because I couldn't get the game here. So I was following on my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're at 70. So I started looking up the records and I was like, they're at 70 points. There's still like 8 minutes left. And I was like, holy crap, they're going to do it. And I was like excited. I was like, they're going to do it. Because again, like this goes back to all the stuff we've talked about before with other players and teams. Is like I just like to watch excellence and watch amazing things happen. So I was like, oh my God, they're gonna do it. Like we're gonna be able to witness something amazing like in our lifetime. And then I look at my phone. And I'm like, oh my God, they're on. I don't know where they were. Like they're
on the 22 or something.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, they're on the 20 with like 3 minutes left. I was like, they are gonna do this. And then
I knew he wasn't, and I knew he wouldn't.
And then following along on your phone, sometimes it gets a little wonky. It's like
it pauses too long. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah. So it's like I'm watching, and I'm like, so wait, and it's stuck at 70, and I'm like, what? Did they do it? What's going on? I was like, what's happening? And then it showed that the Broncos had the ball back, and they were still at 70. I was like, no, that's not right. This isn't right.
His quote was McDaniel of course, the first thing they asked him was that, not even the whole game thing. He says, that's the first question. He goes, and they said, all the Miami reporters were like, are you kidding? That's the first question any fan's going to ask. Why did you not kick the field goal to tie the record? And he said, I don't mind being second guessed for being a decent person, or something.
Get out of here.
It's like Belichick could be like, yeah, we fucked him up. That didn't work for them. But can you imagine being Sean Payton like on that flight home? Just saying. Just wondering. Oh my God. Yeah. Headphones, play solitaire.
That was great. That was great. All right. Well, there was other football this weekend, so let's get in and do a quick recap of that. We'll go back to Thursday night. We'll do it real quick because the 49ers beat the Giants 30-12. I don't think there's any shock whatsoever here. Check, done. The only question I do have here, RPF, is and we'll get into this in a second, with the Cowboys and their performance this week, have the 49ers officially become the NFC, the toast of the NFC?
Yes. And I have 3 shocks of the weekend, besides, obviously, me being a Swiftie and the Dolphins being unbelievable. 3 real, genuine, like toe-curling shocks of the week happened.
Okay.
Yes, I think to answer your question, I think yes, I think the Niners now the Eagles are toggling with the Cowboys as number 2 in the NFC. So,
oh my gosh, I got them way above the Cowboys at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, listen, like if we're going in chronological, or we can just skip ahead, but like when you lose to the Cardinals like that,
That's the next game, right? No, we're doing Colts.
Well, the next one's a shock too. So the next one I had on here was the Colts 22.
That's shock number one for me.
Over the Ravens.
The Colts without the rookie starting quarterback.
Well, hang on. When I flipped on the game and I realized that my man Gardner Minshew was at the helm, I was like, oh, no wonder they won.
Did you see? I mean, first of all,
that guy's a gem.
The sub theme for this whole podcast is hair. We're gonna get into it because between Van Ginkel in Miami and what's his name, Babua from the Rams, what's his name? Your favorite player now, the wide receiver,
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua. By the way, talk about head of hair. We'll talk about that. Did you see the game when he did the slow motion? Like, no, I'm thinking if Brett Girl is Trevor Lawrence, he's definitely a Vidal Sassoon gal. That's definitely they're gonna go head to head for shampoo commercials. I mean, if shampoo companies are not gonna put those two together, just by their names alone and by their hair, anyway. But I will say this: the Ravens losing
at
home to the Colts. Never saw that on my bingo card a million years.
No. And I know they're pretty banged up, right? They didn't have Odell Beckham. They don't have.
But honestly, Odell Beckham hasn't been a factor in 6 years anywhere. So let's be
untrue. He was on his way to be a Super Bowl MVP when he got hurt.
No, that's what I'm saying. After that moment, he hasn't been
less than 6 years ago.
Well, whatever, six seasons ago for Sports Report.
Literally the last time he played.
Or maybe I'm thinking Colin Kaepernick. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm teasing. No, listen. I think, but Odell. By the way, I'm a huge Odell Beckham fan, and the fact is that he's, you know who he's dating now.
No, so I'm not a huge Odell Beckham fan. So I don't know who he's dating.
Kim Kardashian. You may have heard of her.
Yeah.
So the worlds are colliding. The NFL world is morphing with my pop culture world.
No wonder he's injured.
We will take that under advisement. I think I'm getting a legal note. Kim Kardashian denies any role in the injury to Odell Beckham Jr. All right, listen. Yes, I mean, but beyond that, I mean, but the Ravens, I have them going head to head with Miami. In the Chiefs, they're like up in the Bills. So anyway, I think that was a shock to me for sure. I mean, I kept thinking, okay, the Ravens are coming back, and then Lamar didn't. Anyway, so that
does this speak more optimism of the Colts to you, or does this speak more problems for the Ravens?
That's actually a very good question, because I was of two minds. I think they're both. I think the Colts maybe are tired of being disrespected. Also, I mean, they're just like, okay, I think the adrenaline rush. The backup quarterback. Whatever his name is with this crazy pirate hair,
Minshew, Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see next week. Who are they playing next week?
I'm not sure. We'll
get them.
We got that in our preview coming up.
Who are they playing?
Ravens Browns. That'll be a great one. That's next week.
Are they playing next week? The Colts?
And then Colts Rams.
Okay. Well, the Rams have to come back. So that'd be a good game too.
That'll be a good test. Yeah.
To see how real they are. Yeah, that's true.
So speaking of Ravens Browns, so they're now both at 2-1 because the Browns beat the Titans this past weekend 27-3.
That was low grade surprising how efficiently, how consistently, how on both sides of the ball they were solid. Yeah. The Titans didn't show me anything. I think the Titans could be clearing out could be dealing Derrick Henry away. By the way, what's the deal with no teams wanting a running back? The worst timing ever for our Colts friend, the worst timing ever for Jonathan Taylor, our worst timing ever for all of a sudden the Dolphins, the one team that was always in the market for any running back, we have two NFL leading quarterbacks, which by the way, can we just talk about Achan? The rookie who had 200 yards in his debut.
Yeah.
And the no-look pass from Tua, the shuffle pass to the touchdown.
Yeah.
Anyway, so many good things. All right, so moving on.
That game's over, Richard. We already talked about that one.
It's just can't believe it happened. 10 touchdowns is a lot to cover.
But at any rate,
last fun fact. That game yardage-wise, the Dolphins had more yardage than the Jets have all season. Just to let you know.
They scored more points than half the teams in the NFL have scored total.
No, but that one game had more yardage than the season for the Jets. That's crazy.
that 70 points is more points than 14 teams have scored all season.
Yeah, that's historic stuff. Kick the field goal, damn it. Anyway.
But anyway,
right,
the
go.
Browns beat the Titans,
Yep.
which shapes up our NFC North into something to be a bit crazy. To think that they're all 2-1, and except for the division losers at the moment, the Cincinnati Bengals at 1-2.
But that's going to turn around. So they're all going to be like 5-2 or
I think it's going to be great. I think the NFC North is going to be fireworks.
Smash mouth, yeah, as always.
Yeah, it's going to be fireworks. All right, let's go into let's skip forward into Bills beat the Commanders. Blah blah blah. I think we kind of saw that coming. That was 37-3.
No, wait. Last week you were hopeful that the Commanders were for real, and in what universe can the Commanders compete with the Eagles?
Well, yeah, we were both hopeful. The Commanders would win.
I said logically they're going to get their ass handed to them, but I'm hoping that you're right.
Right. That's what I just said. We were both hopeful.
I was hopeful you were right. So I put the blame on you.
But that obviously shapes up beautifully for, and we'll get into this more, that shapes up beautifully for their matchup with your Dolphins next weekend.
Don't you think that's the game of the year so far? Week 4?
Well, so far. I mean, it's week 4.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a game of the year in week 4 ever. This is kind of like pretty epic how the shift would happen in the AFC if the Dolphins do what they do, or if the Bills come back, and kick, Anyway, so we'll see. We'll talk about it.
Then we got the Lions beating the Falcons 20-6. No surprise there, I don't think. The only note I had there on the Lions was I just put a little asterisk there. I'm not sure they're the team that I thought they might be.
They're not the highlight reel we were hoping for, I think.
Yeah, like last year they used to put up like 30 regularly. So they're they much like the AFC North, the NFC North is going to be.
But I will say this,
pretty interesting as well. But
the Lions, thank God that they're coming back and this at least making the early game for Thanksgiving competitive. I'm not sure who they're playing, but the Lions are playing to the point where they could beat anybody on any given Sunday. So that's more fun for us to watch as our spouses are making stuffing and whatever they make.
Speaking of the NFC North, the Packers come back and put up 18 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Saints.
And Derek Carr is out of the game, so he doesn't even get credit or blame for any of this.
I know. So that was.
But Jordan Love needed a statement game. He needed his own game away from the big bad wolf that was Aaron Rodgers'
did,
shadow.
And I think he's like quietly becoming like a really great story. Like, you know what I mean? Like no one's really talking about that. So last night I turned on Monday Night Football and watch Baker Mayfield take on the Eagles, and they have like this 15-minute segment about Baker Mayfield stepping into the shoes of Tom Brady, blah 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 blah, right? But I feel like no one's talking about Jordan Love. Like, finally Aaron Rodgers is gone, and like he's stepping he's stepping into shoes, and it's just like, but it's just glossed over, and he's quietly 2-1, leads an amazing comeback against the Saints. So I like,
you're saying that the headline should be "Love sneaks into your heart."
Sure,
if you're a Packers fan.
But now again, just like the other aforementioned divisions, the NFC South is all of a sudden just everyone's 2-1, and everything is pretty tight and knotted up there.
Yeah.
Hey, let's jump into my Patriots real quick. I don't need to spend a whole lot of time because really,
say with me.
I gotta say, I believe the Jets lost this one more than
Were
the
you
Patriots
looking
won.
in a curled up ball the entire game?
It's just honestly, here's the sad part about Zach Wilson and the Jets. Mainly Zach Wilson is, honestly, once we took the lead. I forget which one it was, but we took a touchdown lead.
Like a 13 to whatever.
Yeah, once we took the lead, I was like, there's no way Zach Wilson is doing anything.
I'm going to have a new segment starting now. I'm calling it Say What? When one quote just stands out above the others from the whole weekend in football. This one, starting, the inaugural quote will come from the legend, the icon, the Hall of Famer, Broadway Joe Namath. When he said,
Yeah.
I've seen enough of Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
When you're legend for your franchise, it's like Dan Marino saying, "I've seen enough too." You know, you for your legend icon to say, "Get this guy out of my picture screen."
Yeah.
I think Zach Wilson's going to be like driving a UPS truck by the end of the season. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And pretty well. I'm sure he drives it well. I'm just saying. You know.
Yep. But, you know, so listen, it was not pretty. We got our win, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed.
So now, by the way,
I don't need to go searching for a new bandwagon team.
No, right, not yet. And I will say this. Here's the thing. It gives you enough hope. Like to go back to the earlier podcast that we did, this is a season for Patriots to be like, you're just about there, but can you make it? Now you had no hope last week. If you lost to the Jets and you have the Cowboys that were mighty and undefeated then.
Oh, gosh.
Right. Now the Cowboys look like Division III girls lacrosse team playing the Cardinals. And then you have, no offense to lacrosse or girls, because in fact they played much more efficiently than the Cowboys did. But now you have hope. I don't even know the spread, but it's not going to be 2 touchdowns.
Which might be awful. Which might be the worst thing that could have happened.
Right. I'm saying this could be like another heartbreak type of situation where, you know, you lose 24-22 or something horrifying, you know. So anyway, that's going to be interesting to watch.
Let's end our Sunday 1 o'clocks with 2 big one big surprise, one sort of surprise. I don't know. Anyway, the big surprise, the Texans.
That's shock
beat
number
the
2 for me. Shock number 2.
Texans beat the Jaguars
be, right?
37-17.
The Texans that have literally no one playing for them.
My notes are, I really don't know what to do with this game. I don't know how to break this down.
Well,
I don't know what this means.
I bought into the hype. I bought into the Brett girl coming. You know, this is the season. He steps in. I bought into it. And I'm thinking, under what evidence am I stepping into this mess? And I just read everything, and that these people are smarter than me. They devour, you know, endless research tape, and they see the film, and they know the scouting report and whatever. And maybe this guy got new, you know, highlights for his hair, whatever it was. Everyone bought into this. Trevor Lawrence, this is his season to become Mahomes or something. All of a sudden, Mahomes, he's become Garoppolo. I mean, you know, current Garoppolo. So anyway, I just don't know what's happening with the Jaguars. They have nothing going on. And not only that, the worst crime of all is that they're effing boring to watch. You know who they became? They become the Broncos from last year, which is like, even with, at least this year, they're entertaining because they have no defense. At least last year, they were like, you know, 7 3-and-outs and a field goal. You know, that's their whole game plan. So this is basically the Jaguars. I mean, and this is what, but by the way, why in my other pet peeve, to go further, they're still talking about Trevor Lawrence being a young quarterback, and he's a year older than Tua. I mean, this is the year, buddy. You know?
Yeah.
You know, don't worry about the split ends. Get in the end zone. That's my tip.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't know what to do with this game, is because, like, the Texans are so bad, and they beat them so bad that I'm like, is it just a fluke?
Is this an outlier? Is this like a weird game?
Right. Did someone have the flu or something? Like, it's just, it's so bizarre to me and so far outside of the box.
I mean, can you name a player on the Texans?
No, I can't.
I mean, I'm thinking, is Old Campbell?
I think CJ Stroud, right, is the quarterback.
Yeah,
CJ Stroud. Yeah.
I mean, and he was excited. He was like efficient. He was like done. He was as good as what Zach Wilson thinks he is. I mean, that was all right.
And then the last game to round out our 1 o'clocks was the Chargers 28. I can't even get through it. Over the Vikings 24.
This was so heartbreaking.
Probably, I think it's probably kind of what we expected. Maybe.
I mean, I thought the Chargers would win by 1 score, and they did.
Yeah, and they did.
Watching it, and you know, and especially if you saw the quarterback show on Netflix with Kirk Cousins being kind of the star of the show with Mahomes. Kirk, I mean, you know what he's going through. You know what he's gone through. His routine of the week, and you're like watching him drive down to win the game, and he throws a pick in the end zone. Oh my god!
It was the ugliest, well-scoring game I've seen in a while.
Meaning,
it was like well-scoring. I mean, like 28-24 on paper. You're like, oh wow, there's some offense, but it was so gross. And it, what team really won? the Vikings lost.
I have an aunt, which I won't name names, but she's my only aunt who lived in New Jersey. She would literally, I mean, I come from, I'm a Virgo. I like clean things. And for one Thanksgiving, we went up to see them, and she makes Thanksgiving dinner, and the dinner itself was just like next world delicious, right? It was like crazy. You walk into the kitchen, and it's like,
and it was just
it's like yam on the ceiling, and it's like, and you're like, what happened here? Like a Tasmanian devil went crazy in here. I remember my mom and like my sisters helping at home. It's like literally you can eat off the floor. And my kid, clean as you go type of mentality and everything's. This is what it sounds. This was to me was my first thought. This is my aunt's Thanksgiving dinner. It's delicious sounding game with a hot mess everywhere. It was just like oh my god. The Vikings and Chargers were like, it was like there was a yam on the ceiling. It was
yeah. I honestly, unfortunately, sadly, I should say that I think the biggest takeaway I took from this game was that the Chargers lost Mike Williams in the process.
Oh my god!
I think that's going to be really big for them for the season. ACL.
I thought the Chargers were going to do a run, and then all of a sudden, their best offensive weapon is gone.
So, I mean, they're still waiting for Austin Eckler to come back. I don't know how long he's going to be. And now Mike Williams is done for the year.
Like every year, but these season-ending injuries, I mean, these injuries are not like a torn ankle. These are just like,
I know.
These are just scary, like Chubb and all these, awful.
Yeah. It's.
Starting with Aaron Rodgers, of course.
It honestly, losing Mike Williams and the question mark over Austin Eckler gives me a lot of pause for the Chargers. This is a team I had doing extremely well through the playoffs.
But on the flip side, the Vikings at 0-3 are not out of it in the NFC. They're exactly where they want them. Underestimating them, And I think the Vikings, by the way, they have a solid, obviously, team. They have a great coach. They have a mentality of that nothing's impossible. But they came back from the biggest comeback just last season. So I think they can turn this around rather quickly with a couple of wins.
Moving on to the 4:00 games, we had the Panthers. Woo, yay! Get defeated by the Seahawks. What a game that was.
Wow. Again, how could someone put it this a different way? 74 points scored, and I was almost asleep watching. I was like, oh my God. It was like, who cares? I kept thinking, I don't actually care about anyone on this field right now.
Yeah. I mean, and then I would have to say probably thank goodness Taylor Swift showed up to Arrowhead because otherwise I don't think anybody's tuning into that game.
Talk about a cruel summer. This is like the perfect game, perfect moment. Okay, for those 3 people on the planet Earth who don't know the whole T-Swizzle Taylor Swift mantra. Taylor Swift is famously and unfairly been, her whole adult life she's dated she's had a few public romances and not so public romances, and people give her a hard time about being a serial dater and etc. But she's always dated these kind of like skinny British-ish guys that are like James Dean with an accent type people who we don't really. To me, they're all interchangeable. It's a bit like Paris Hilton dating all those Greek tycoons. They're all interchangeable. I don't know anyone's name, but I will say Travis Kelce, to his credit, went to a Taylor Swift concert at Arrowhead with all the bracelets that all the fans have, and he had and these bracelets had his phone number on them. So he was hoping to give it to Taylor so she can call him to go on a date because he fancies her to quote, to do the most formal thing. Long story short is that Taylor didn't know about him. Of course, her security almost tackled him just to the ground, saying, "Don't get anywhere near her." And she found out about it. She, he's like all her boyfriends, like if he ate all her boyfriends, he'd be his size. It'd be like all of a sudden this strapping guy. Meanwhile, Travis Kelce's podcast with his brother is the best podcast in sports. No offense to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good. It's so good. It's like Jason Kelce is the most beloved person in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like the greatest human being I have encountered in 5 years. So that podcast, they're kind of revealing a little bit here. I think it's true. And Jason Kelce basically confirming the romance with Taylor Swift. She shows up. Not only she shows up to Arrowhead in a full Kelce uniform, sitting next to Kelce's mother, screaming for the touchdown, and Mahomes saying, "I felt pressure. I had to throw him the touchdown." All the Swifties will come after me. And Swifties, by the way, she's the most popular artist in the world right now. So and their fans are called Swifties, and they literally can change the world. So at this point, who's happier than anybody is NFL executives who lost Aaron Rodgers in minute one. Now they have
Taylor Swift.
170 billion new possible viewers to the NFL. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
that is like, if Taylor just tweets one photo of her and Jason Kelce in a Chiefs, and by the way, even like the overnight,
that would be
the uniform. Kelce's uniform was like number one already in the NFL
that
shop.
Would be a great. That would be a great like cartoon, like a meme, or maybe even a cartoon like in the New Yorker, like a back alley deal between the devil and NFL execs saying, "I'll give you Taylor Swift for Aaron Rodgers."
No, and of course now the NFL executives are kicking themselves because they contracted Usher to be the halftime show, which by the way is going to be awesome. Yeah, but now they're thinking. But they thought Taylor Swift was right there for the taking. She could have just said, she could have been like, Chiefs are pretty good bet to make it to Super Bowl probably. So it would have been like in Vegas, Taylor Swift. I mean, you can't make that up. Anyway, the point is, but the game itself, Chiefs blew them like to hell and back.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs became the Chiefs. So again, in the AFC, winner of Dolphins, Bills, and Dolphins, obviously, my viewpoint, and then Chiefs. Those three teams are head above everybody else in the AFC, and the Ravens were just shockingly bad.
Yeah, I agree. I can go a step farther than that. The Bills still have something to prove to me after their loss that they had, that they looked awful in.
Yeah.
And then they won the last two games.
Remember last year's playoff in the wild card, Miami went to Buffalo for the first round in the playoff in the wild card, and we were one field goal away from upsetting them with a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I still need to see more. That they're okay. The Bills, that is, that they're okay, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs, so they're always going to be good still.
But you're pretty good right now in your mind. Dolphins, Chiefs in the AFC Championship, and Eagles, Niners in the NFC.
Yeah, so you texted me during the end of because I was texting you too, but you texted me during the end of that Dolphins game with some sort of sandbagging text about how you're worried that this is giving you false hope for next weekend.
Not false hope, I just overconfidence from the team.
Overconfidence, yeah. And I said, don't you dare, because now, after watching Sunday's performance by the Dolphins, now I expect them to run the table.
Listen, can we peak in week 3? I hope not. I literally think I don't see a team in front of us that it's shaking, that I'm scared about, including the Bills.
I expect them to run the table after what I just saw.
17-0, and then going to be the perfect season. Another perfect season.
They'd have to win the Super Bowl, which they won't.
Exactly. So. Do you think that we'll get to Super Bowl and then possibly not win? Okay, got it. That would be the worst thing ever. I think not worst thing ever. There's like epidemics and climate change.
There's a lot of stuff that could be worse.
There's a mass murderer loose in India, but no, I think this would be a bad situation for Dolphin fans to get to the promised land undefeated, tie the record of the vaulted Dolphins from the 72 Dolphins, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I can't even say it out there. I can't put it out there in the universe.
In fairness, I should do a deeper dive on their schedule before I make a comment like that.
We play some tough games. We play the Cowboys. We play. I was going to say the Jets because Aaron Rodgers. No, we play the Cowboys were as of last week.
Exactly. Let's talk about them because they're next on the docket. Cowboys lost.
Shock number 3. Shock number 3. Yep.
28-16.
That was just
28-16.
Insane.
And it was so gross. The Cowboys
it wasn't even close. It wasn't that close.
I know. The Cowboys were 0 for 5 on red zone trips.
You know what it is? I finally decided Dak Prescott isn't as good as I want him to be. Full stop.
Yeah.
Or consistently good as he needs to be to win a championship.
Yep.
The opposite was true with what's his face. Oh my God, I'm blanking out. The quarterback that's now the announcer, Tony Romo. Tony Romo was always on the verge of getting there, and some happenstance happened. It wasn't him necessarily. I think it's him. I think Dak Prescott's him. And I don't know.
Yeah.
A sidelight, by the way. Did you see the Micah Parsons, Tyreek Hill type of back and forth?
Yeah.
That's fun. I'll put you in the tent. I believe you. Cheetah, be quiet, please.
Listen, the Cowboys are still okay. They're like
the 2-1.
Yeah. I'm not doomsdaying them. But it's just eye opening when you're.
But let me ask you this: would you be surprised if the Cowboys won by 21 over the Patriots?
Yes.
Would you be surprised if the Patriots eked out a victory over the Cowboys?
No.
Okay, so that's good. That's a good game. That's a good game.
Absolutely, and that's and I think this was part of our text chain the other day was it because this all started around about false hope for the Patriots next weekend based off of their win today or Sunday and more
the Cowboys
importantly,
not playing yet. Yeah,
the Cowboys' performance against the Cardinals and the idea of the mastermind of Bill Belichick putting together a game plan to eliminate any Cowboy threats, which I think he can do.
Yeah.
So I think everything, the ingredients are there for the Patriots to win next weekend. After I saw now, if the Cowboys, like they should have done, went into Phoenix and won like 35-4,
to 4, 2 safeties.
I would be sitting here and it'd be a different story. I'd be like, crap. Well, here we go.
No, I know. But I think, listen, but I do think that weirdly, again, my knowledge base of the Dolphins, Gesicki and Devontae Parker like to play the Cowboys. I think they had really big games against them. So I think there's a way of executing. Belichick, I mean, I think he would be like, okay, let's upset them again. So it's not an upset anymore. So now all of a sudden, can you imagine the Patriots being 2-2 and if the Bills are 2-2 and the Jets are 1-3, I mean, that's a good place to be. You'll take that, right? I mean,
of course I will. Yeah.
After your 0-2 start, that'd be.
I did. Yeah. I mean, even before our 0-2 start, I didn't think we'd be 2-2 after week 4. So
you think you'd be 2-10 after 12 weeks? I mean, this is before Aaron Rodgers got hurt and before everything else.
I realistically thought that we would be 0-4, maybe 1-3. That was back when Aaron Rodgers was still a factor.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on. Let's keep this rolling. Steelers beat the Raiders. It was a great game Sunday night. The Steelers moved to 2-1. They make the AFC North just an absolute juggernaut right now.
Yeah.
That was another game that wasn't all that pretty to watch. But you know what? The Steelers never really are that pretty to watch. But
can we talk about the coaching?
So I had noted. I said Josh McDaniels just continues to leave me with questions as a head coach.
Did he finish school? You think he actually graduated from school? I mean, this is my question because he's playing like your drunk aunt on a cruise ship at the casino. Okay, I have 19 on blackjack. Hit me. What? What are you? I mean. And he gets away with it sometimes. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I never understand Josh McDaniels.
He
to be inside his brain. Oh my God.
Yep. At any rate, he, for those that don't know, he elected to go for the field goal instead of go for the score in a possible 2-point conversion late in the game. I mean, it would appear that everyone in the football universe was scratching their heads.
We're like, what? Yeah. By the way, why am I bashing my aunts this whole podcast? The 2 different aunts I've just insulted. My poor aunts have been nothing but lovely to me. They quiero tia. Okay. That's Spanish, by the way, Jonah.
Monday night. Thank you. Monday night, we had the Eagles over the Bucs. I don't think there's a big surprise there. And we had the Bengals over the Rams. I don't think it's a surprise. It wasn't pretty. Again, Joe Burrow wasn't.
But the Bengals had to have it. The Bengals had to have it.
But they had to have it.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, that's that even though Burrow wasn't great, I'm focused more on the optimism for the Bengals, meaning even when Burrow wasn't great, they realized that they have to win this game.
The defense stepped up
and they won.
By the way, Burrow found Chase finally after 2
right?
weeks. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was like, can you imagine Chase? Hey, this is what I was thinking about. Before, like on Sunday, he's at home chilling with his posse, with his friends, with his girlfriend, whomever. He's sitting there watching his former teammates and rivals in the Dolphins and his former Alabama guys. And I mean, just the whole Jefferson scoring 1 billion points, and then you have Tyreek going crazy. And meanwhile, Jamar Chase, he sees himself in that category.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have the MVP Golden Boy as my quarterback, and the fucker can't find me the ball. I mean, I bet you he had a little love conversation with Burrow saying, I don't care what you do all day, you find me the ball. Get me the ball. And he didn't, I think he just caught every catchable ball in his universe. So I think that's a good wake-up moment for the Bengals. That was enough because the defense did the rest. Burrow wasn't great either, by the way. Burrow hasn't showed me anything really exciting.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But without that victory, it would have been a whole different game. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
And like I promised, we got to talk about your boy, Pakua, what was his name?
Puka Nacua.
That hair. Okay, can we just talk about the hair for 1 second? I know this is a little off topic. Okay, but it was like wavy. First of all, where was he hiding that hair? All of a sudden, he just takes off the helmet, and the camera guy was like this, like panning up slowly. It was like almost like soft, but like that stripper music or like that pre-sex music that they play. It was like a Showtime, like soft core type of, and he just whips his hair around, and he said, "Take that, Brett girl," and he literally did it to the Sassoon. And then, of course, I'm watching at my favorite sports bar. They had the two at the bar with Marco just having dinner. I convinced him he didn't know it was a doubleheader, 2 different screens. And he's like, "What's happening?" And the screens are huge, and they're like, and he's like, "Really? This is what's happening right now?" I said, "It's for the podcast. I got to watch." Anyway, so all of a sudden, Marco gets into it when they show the slow motion without audio. They just showed his hair. And he went, "Who's that?" He goes, "Look at the highlights. Look at the cut. They did a scissor cut in precision." Anyway, he was like, "Oh my God, his name sounds like Tua. Is he also?" I said, "Yes, he's also." Anyway, he was like this. That's the discussion here. I'm like, I think you're absolutely right. That's the discussion for this game. It's Tua. Anyway, so I promised that we would talk about his hair. Beautiful hair, major points. Keep spending money on good haircuts, people. All right.
Perfect. Hey, we're going to try something new here at Sports, of course. We're going to do a 60-second recap, all right, of every game that happened. So what I'm going to do right now is we're just going to scroll. We're going to run right through the games, and RPF and I are going to provide one word / one sound answers that sums up.
I didn't prepare any of it. I didn't prepare any of it.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be great.
Oh no. Okay, hang on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, for example, I'll start us easy. So I'll go Giants 49ers or 49ers over the Giants Thursday night, and you're gonna go meh.
Expected,
right? Okay, so we're each gonna give one quick answer, and we're gonna see if we can get this all done in 60, maybe 90 seconds.
Okay, go.
All right. Here we go. We have we'll hit that right out of the gate. Ready? Giants or 49ers over the Giants.
Brock is good.
Nah. Ravens beat by the Colts.
Shocker
what?
1. Shock.
Browns destroy the Titans. Huh. Dolphins obliterate the Broncos. Enough. You are nothing but bullies.
Wait, is this a response to me? Bullies? We've been bullied our whole life. we have Flipper as our mascot. I mean,
that's too many.
Seriously.
This is too many. That's too many words.
All right,
Richard.
Bully.
That's too many words.
Okay.
Patriots.
No.
Patriots beat the Jets.
Thank God.
Yay. Commanders beat the Bills destroy the Commanders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lions beat the Falcons. Yeah.
Okay.
Packers come back to beat the Saints.
It's all about love, baby.
Jaguars get destroyed by the Texans. I don't know.
Wow.
Vikings beat by the Chargers.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sad.
Chiefs obliterate the Bears.
Taylor.
Go Taylor.
Swifties.
Seahawks beat the Panthers.
Who cares?
And the Cardinals beat the Cowboys. What the actual...
What? Yeah, WTF. Big time. Yeah.
Steelers beat the Raiders. Good job.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, that was on my card. Yeah.
That's too many words, Richard. Eagles beat the Bucs.
Duh.
And Bengals beat the Rams. I'll give a finally.
Finally, it's a good one. Finally.
All right, hey, give me your. I think we tipped on them a little bit, but give me some of your biggest surprises and shocks from Week 3, and then we'll get on to Week 4 preview.
Colts, Cowboys. What's the other one?
Jaguars.
Jaguars. Jaguars. Exactly. Colts, Cowboys, Jaguars. For different reasons, obviously, but those three teams didn't do. Oh, the Ravens, I guess Colts, but that's the three.
Yeah.
That's for the three shots.
I had Colts. I'm sorry, not Colts. I had Cowboys and Jaguars. I didn't have the Colts in my list of surprises only because maybe it's not a surprise. Maybe we just didn't know who they were yet. So, but as far as the Cowboys, and the Jags, we thought they were something, and they just weren't.
And the Dolphins playing video game with real people in real life. That was kind of Madden in real life.
All right, hey, let's get into Week 4. We've got some great matchups coming up in Week 4. We come out of the gate with the Lions and Packers both at 2-1 in the NFC North. So
doesn't
dynamite
that feel like a good game? It feels like a fun game, right?
It's a dynamite kickoff to the week, and it should give us, I think, some decent insight into how this division is going to shape up going down the road here.
Particularly at Lambeau, which I think it could be. It depends on what other factors are involved in injuries and weather and whatever. But I think it could be a 31-31 game in overtime. It could be. I
think it could be a great game. When you think about the division, the Bears are awful. I don't see them potentially winning a game. And then
can we go a whole podcast without mentioning the Bears once? They don't deserve to be mentioned.
And then the Vikings are like that meme with the guy with the sticks, when he's hitting the thing and he's saying do something. Like the Vikings.
I think that's Sean Payton holding the sticks.
So my point being is that the Lions and Packers are well suited at the moment without either of the other two teams that in the picture are well suited to duke this out for the division. And then we move we've got our first round of international games. So we've got a Sunday morning game between the Jaguars. Between the Jaguars and Falcons. Are you reading my notes? Because I've got snooze alert written right here.
No, listen, it's funny you said that. No, but this is what I will say. A little extra special. Circle this game and tell your girlfriend, wife, spouse, or whomever, say, by the way, honey, let's have early brunch. So you have all morning till like 12:45 to say, let's have brunch with all your girlfriends that we've been ignoring this whole season. So then they can't say you're a football widow, right? So now all of a sudden they're like, oh, honey, that's so great. Let's have. But what, brunch at 9:30? Yes, it'll be fun. It'll be early. Anyway, so this is your brunch time because no one should be watching this game.
So then we move into our 1:00 games. We've got, I'll get these out of the way. We've got a pair of games between 0-3 teams. We've got the Broncos taking on the Bears, both of those teams at 0-3. We've got the Vikings taking on the Panthers, both of those teams at 0-3. The Broncos-Bears game, my note here is I said loser gets relegated to college football.
Division 2. Division 2. No, if the Broncos and the Vikings don't win, literally, the world is over for them.
And then my note on the Vikings is, good God, Vikings, you need to do something. I mean,
both Broncos, and that could be the same note for the Broncos. I mean, if Sean Payton loses to the Bears, there's no coming back. Period. It's it.
Yeah.
Don't even go back to Denver. Just have your movers, have your wife move your bags to a hotel in New York. That's where you're going to be commentating on some like Fox 3 network for Indonesia.
And then we've got Rams at 1-2 taking on the 2-1 Colts. So again, we mentioned that earlier. That should be a decent little test, I think, for the Colts to see if they are kind of who we thought they were. And also, if the Rams want to stay relevant, they need to stay at 2-2 and not move to 1-3.
I agree.
Bengals at 1-2 are taking on the Titans at 1-2.
Bengals easily, I think here. I think Bengals.
Normally I would say that, but again,
the Titans look. They have no weapons. I mean, Derrick Henry. I thought he'd be the only one. Ryan Tannehill. Maybe he has a Ryan Tannehill comeback game again. I don't know. I just can't see Joe Burrow going 1-3. I just can't.
And then we have some great interdivision matchups. We've got the Ravens at 2-1 taking on the Browns at 2-1.
That's going to be a great game too.
I think that'll be a great game.
At Cleveland makes a difference to me. That makes a difference.
It does, yeah.
And it depends. And how banged up are the Ravens still going to be? Do you know?
absolutely. I don't know offhand yet. We probably won't know until
And which
Friday
Deshaun
or so,
Watson's going to show up? That's another
True.
request.
True,
So.
very true. And then we also have the Bucs at 2-1 taking on the Saints at 2-1. And it sounds like they're going to be without Derek Carr.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. I think the Bucs take this.
But I will say, without Derek Carr, I will say the Saints arguably have one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league in Jameis Winston.
But he also can throw 5 picks in one game or 5 touchdowns.
Also true.
Feast or famine quarterback for sure.
And then of course, my friend
and the revenge factor because he was a Buck for all those years.
Yeah.
So.
And then I saved the absolute best 1:00 game and probably the best game of the weekend. And
you missed one though.
Certainly the best game of the weekend.
Did you say the Commanders Eagles?
I didn't. I'm sorry. The Commanders Eagles.
That's a good game. Commanders could be pissed because they were embarrassed by Buffalo.
They were embarrassed. It's in Philly.
So it's not likely going to be competitive. Yeah,
right.
But still, All right.
And then of course we have the Dolphins of Miami headed up to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Get your popcorn out. I think this could be our
your
game.
popcorn and your Cuban sandwiches because it's going to be a chomping.
Nothing.
We're gonna have buffalo wings for lunch on the flight home. Miami, and I'm gonna be non-emotional about it or unemotional about it if I can be, because I think it's going to be ultimately it's a 12 guys 11 guys on each side of the ball. I think Josh Allen. I'm assuming Josh Allen's going to play well. I'm assuming that all their playmakers are going to play well. Every 3rd and 6 is automatic for the Bills against the Dolphins historically the past 10 games. So all of those things are so annoying. Having said that, I don't see a Bills secondary that can stop Miami's offense. So the only factor here is, can the offensive line, which whether I haven't even mentioned once this whole season, which is incredible because the Dolphins, everyone knows their biggest Achilles heel. I've been saying this since you met me. If the quarterback can be upright for half a second longer, watch what he does. And guess what? He's been up half a second longer or longer. He's only been sacked once this entire season, Tua.
Yep.
Also because his release is so quick and the schemes and the plays are so quick and the crossing patterns and the whole thing. All the things that McDaniel does to play into Tua's strengths and to hide the weaknesses of the Dolphins. If the Bills can put pressure on Tua, then the game gets even. Not even on the Bills' favor. If Tua gets the protection that he's been getting, and he can release the ball in 2.2 seconds, and you're going to have opportunities down the field even with Barrios and even with like these slot receivers. I think this game could be handedly a 2.5 touchdown victory for Miami, and I'll say it with the knowledge and the history of the Dolphins and Bills at Buffalo and the horrible recent history there. I just think this is a statement game for Miami. It wasn't this other game with the Broncos wasn't the outlier. This is a statement game. To your point, we are now should be considered the prohibitive favorite every time we step on that field.
Yeah,
and if we're not, then we're still the Dolphins. We still have to be. Damn it, we thought this was the year.
Listen, I say, my expectation of the Dolphins is to basically run the table from here forward. I say that, but it's not easy, obviously, and it's not that you're allowed to have slip up games here and there, but it's almost like you're bound to. So, it depends on. So I guess part of the question becomes is like, what team is going to catch the Dolphins on their slip up, if there is one? What team is going to catch them on their slip-up game?
Listen, before the season, as I was anticipating the season, and there's all these teams in front of us just on paper. It was like Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Aaron Rodgers-led Jets. All these teams were in front of Miami's schedule, and I'm thinking, okay, as a true logical person, I had best case was 12-5 Dolphins if they have a killer season. And then my optimist, my fan inside my heart, I said, but I don't know. Can we go 14-3? I mean, is that possible? To 13-5? I said, okay, 13-5, and I'll be happy, I swear. Now, honestly, 13-4. Now, if we're 13-4, it's a little bit disappointing, considering the team we have. It should be like 15-2, and I'm like, Yeah, but the refs blew the call, and it would have been, you know what I'm saying? So this is week 4, so this is kind of absurd. But just how they're winning with such,
yeah,
I think it gives that confidence that every game should be a win. If it's not, then some other factors happening. If it's weather, if it's a bad injury, if it's something.
I have an interesting question, and I'm looking at your schedule right now. And do you have and it's quite favorable.
Well, now it is, considering what we know now. Hang on. So we have the Panthers and Giants after the Bills.
Well,
right?
here's another reason why I say it's quite favorable, because what I was going to ask you is, do you have any reservations about the Dolphins going up into inclement weather towards the end of the season and playing well?
I think we do.
Right. So I'm looking at your schedule, and so on December 3rd, which
it's the brisk fall day. Yes.
Right. You're in Washington.
Yeah.
But then you are from December 11th.
We're Miami.
Is Miami. December 17th is Miami. December 24th is Miami. And then you head up to Baltimore on December 31st. And then you're back in Miami to finish the season. So you finish the season with 4 out of 5 games at home.
For the first time in like 15 years or more, because we're starting the season 4 out of 5 on the road. Or 3 out of 4 on the road. So who's hang on? So the schedule is Bills, and then we play. Is it Giants and Panthers?
Giants, Panthers, and then you have the Eagles.
Is that in Philly?
That's in Philly.
Is that a primetime game?
It is.
Is it Sunday or Monday?
Sunday night.
Sunday night? That's gonna be that's a popcorn game too, right? I mean,
that'll be another popcorn game for sure. And then you have us in Miami,
and then we go to Frankfurt, Germany.
And then you go to play the Chiefs. Then you have Raiders, Jets, Commanders, Titans, Jets.
See, that's the stretch I love. That's the stretch That's the stretch I love. 2 Jets. And
then the unknown Cowboys.
Right.
And then Ravens, Bills.
So, look, right this moment, I don't see one game there that I'm like, for sure. The Eagles, and look, we're playing the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Cowboys, and the Jets with Aaron Rodgers twice. I mean, before the season, this was a monster. Now it's like, the Dolphins can handle that. So we'll see where we are. But yeah.
All right, moving on to our 4 o'clock games. We've got Raiders at Chargers. Yeah. We've got
Chargers. Chargers will win. All right.
We've got 49ers at Cardinals. So the 49ers have an opportunity to go in and show the Cowboys what you're supposed to do as a good team.
Yeah. Yeah, and they will.
And then what
Brock does? Brock doesn't make mistakes, which is, it's not exciting, but it gets the work done. He gets the job done. Yeah.
And then the last one of the 4 o'clock slate is the Cowboys Patriots, which we've already covered, so I won't get back into it again.
Hope for the Patriots.
There is hope, and if we can put together a good game plan and not turn the ball over and just play kind of like you just mentioned, like what Brock Purdy. If we can just be a very boring football team with a great game plan, I think we can pull that one off. Sunday night we got Chiefs versus Jets. Cool.
Again, we have free time to go to the movies. You have free time to
Well, it's really sad, right? Because obviously the NFL was anticipating a Mahomes-Rodgers matchup here. Yeah.
I mean, sad for whom? Like the NFL or for the fans? For the fans.
For the NFL and the fans.
But the NFL, I think they'll struggle with their $20 billion profit. I think they'll be okay. I think for the fans, it would have been like a really fun game to watch.
Yeah. And it's prime time, so Taylor will probably be back.
Not any worse than Monday night prime time. Oh my god.
See, this Monday night, the matchup you've all been waiting for: the Seahawks take on the Giants.
I'd rather watch like Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez. Anyway, but yeah, that's man, it's another snooze fest for
all right. Well, hey,
prime times.
3 weeks in the books, RPF. I'm curious to know what your biggest surprises are, good or bad, for the duration of those 3 weeks, not just this week, but as in general. And that doesn't mean it won't change tomorrow, but right now, as I sit here, the biggest surprise for me, to be honest, if I'm honest, is the
the lack of quality of play from Joe Burrow.
Yeah. It's 3 games now.
Yeah, and it's even in victory, he wasn't the reason they won. And I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Yeah. I've got the Jaguars as sort of my bad surprise, and I've got the Colts as my good surprise. I wasn't asking you to pick 2. I just kind of did. Because the Colts, I didn't think they were going to do a whole lot. So for them to be 2-1 and competing in the division,
the good surprise for me, of course, involves all kinds of things. But basically, Achan coming in as a factor as a rookie for the Dolphins as a running back and putting up a 200-yard performance for his debut. That's a good surprise.
All right. Any bold predictions for Week 4?
The Dolphins will be favored against the mighty Giants next weekend in Miami. We'll get the respect finally from these polyblend wearing bat suit ESPN analysts.
Are you? Well, they don't make the cover the spreads. It's Vegas.
Not the spreads. I don't understand how it worked. I'm saying, but they themselves are saying, "Oh, this is a comeback game for whomever X filling the team against the Dolphins." It's always like upset special, Commanders over. It's going to be maybe not. We'll see what happens in Buffalo. I'm fairly confident that everyone in the Dolphin universe, Dolphin Nation knows this is early and definitive test to say, okay, this is our year. So let's go. I'm looking forward to it.
My bold prediction is that the Patriots do, in fact, have a dynamite game plan for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, and that we hold them to under 14 points and we get the win.
I'm here for it.
We get the win. I'm going to say by touchdown.
Wow. That's a long way from where you were just at the beginning of this.
It's a bold prediction for a reason, Richard.
It's a bold prediction. I am astounded, kind of. I'm kind of fascinated by your prediction. I'm scared of getting the text from you halfway through the game, but we'll see.
All right, that's all the time we have for you on today's episode of Sports, of Course, with Jonah and RPF. You can find us anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, all the great platforms. You can also find us socially over at Instagram and X, as well as on our very own dedicated YouTube channel. Just head to any of those platforms, type in Sports, of Course, with Jonah and RPF in the search bar. It will pop right up. Hit like, subscribe, follow, say hello, comment. What else is there?
I will tell you, I can suggest something. Sunday morning, when those awful teams are playing overseas, good time to binge watch all the YouTube podcasts that we've been doing for the season.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Perfect. All right. That's all the time we got. We'll see you next time.
Bye, John.